apparently this politician guy that I've never heard of crashed out at an event that another politician lady was doing. And I don't know this situation at all. But I think probably my prediction is that the guy who crashed out actually did crash out and is lying about it and is trying to make himself out as a hero. And I bet the right is like, my life could have been in danger. This is unprecedented. So let's see what happened. I guarantee that's what fucking happened.
Who told the Democrats that acting like emotional chihuahuas was appealing? As there's literally nothing less presidential than having a bark quiet.
Well, actually, it is appealing to other emotional freaks. I've been seeing it online, people defending this guy. Still, though, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who he crashed out on.
Quieter than your cry. As after Newsom did it yesterday, his entire party is doing the same. Reacting to when the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, was addressing the press.
That they have the opportunity every single day to return back home, and we will work with them and facilitate that.
Then some unknown senators started charging at her.
And what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person.
Senator Alex.
Okay, so he actually did just randomly crash out over nothing. This is a show. This is all for show. That's all he's doing. He doesn't actually care. He's just trying to get votes.
I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter.
You got questions for the secretary? How about you ask them in a place and time that is appropriate? What the fuck? How are people defending this guy? They probably didn't see this first part of the video. Or maybe they did and they just don't care.
There is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
Right here, this is where I saw it. This is where it started for me. Every single clip started here.
On your heads off.
On the ground. Hands on your back. Hands on your back.
If you let my hands go, I'd put behind my back.
Yeah, this is exactly what that guy wanted. This is exactly what the left wanted. Was this video of him getting arrested.
As the DHS clearly explained after, the senator interrupted a press conference without having his Senate security pin on, lunging at Secretary Noem. As he repeatedly refused to back away, Secret Service thought he was an attacker, but after, the two had a 15-minute meeting. But that didn't stop this somber senator from sharing his sob story.
You guys have some questions. I'm going to read a brief statement. I will not be taking questions, but allow me to read my statement. You can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks.
Oh no, are you gonna cry about it? Dude, this guy's a fucking evil, disgusting person. Anybody defending this guy is either retarded or evil. And I would argue that if you're defending this guy and you're retarded, then you're just evil anyway.
To day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California.
Well, I was gonna say give this guy an Oscar because he is a great actor for that first part where he's crashing out. But this is terrible. This is terrible right now. This is like a modern day Marvel movie kind of acting.
And throughout the country.
Somebody get this guy an emotional support animal, because this isn't how we want our local leaders to look like, where their bark is them screeching at a press conference and their bite is them crying at a different press conference.
And then you got weirdos on the left defending him and like attacking Kristi Noem over this, and I don't even know who that lady is. I mean, like, I know she's like some kind of speaker for the government. I don't know stuff about the government. I'm a moron. I don't like any of them. I don't even like Trump.
If the Democrats really want you to believe they will fight for anything, they desperately have to change their branding. As Democrat Senator Warren does the same.
When Senator...
Of course Pocahontas comes out and cries too about it. Even though it doesn't really affect her in any way, she's just still gonna sit on her money throne.
Padilla gets pushed, shoved, thrown to the... handcuffed.
Oh, the madness! What has the world come to? Where we can't crash out and attack people without being arrested. We used to be able to just attack random people in the streets and not have to worry about the police.
An unemployed Democrat, Buttigieg, gets in it too.
I just saw something that made my stomach turn. A United States senator pushed to the ground and handcuffed after asking questions.
But Senator Booker...
Asking questions in an inappropriate manner. You could have scheduled a meeting to ask questions. scheduled an interview, a video interview. You talked for 15 minutes afterward, apparently. Why couldn't you have done that the whole time? Optics. Optics is why.
Shows us maybe sad is a better strategy, otherwise they
Hey look, another person I've never seen before in my life.
look deranged.
And this son of Mexican immigrants who cleaned homes and served food was driven violently to his knees.
That's what they think about immigrants, by the way. They think that they're doing the worst jobs, which, I mean, they are, but that's what they want them to be doing. They don't want them to get better in life. They want them to be doing the slave work. They want their gardeners. They want their plumbers. They want Mexicans to be all of the things that they got mad at Trump for using, even though he pays his employees well. And these people want to pay them less than minimum wage because they're undocumented. Who cares what we pay them? Because that'll be undocumented too. They can work under the table, but I can't. I can't work under the table. IRS will come after me. They're not gonna come after illegal aliens. It's fucking ridiculous.
Knees, as if made to kneel before the authority of the executive. Because if you can make Alex forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop? And if you could force him to kneel to his knees violently, when does it stop?
And the Democrats wonder why they have a problem appealing to men when all they do is lie and try to emotionally manipulate you.
And it's like they think that's the only thing we're seeing. Dumb people, that might be the only thing that they're seeing because they only watch one avenue of information. But for people like me, for regular people who watch fucking everything, we can see that you're lying and manipulating people.
Doing them favors, which is the exact opposite of masculinity. But the worst part about all of this is I don't think any of them are crying on camera because of virtue. They're just using it as a platform to begin their own presidential campaigns.
True, and none of them are gonna get it. They're all just gonna be the lackeys of the government.
As LA Mayor Karen Bass writes, he's a sitting US Senator. This administration's violent attacks on our city must end.
We're the ones who attacked them. I say we because I've been lumped into the right wing, even though I'm fucking not. This administration's violent attacks on our city must end. Except, it was the Democrat who attacked. Fucking ridiculous. How they paint these stories.
But confusingly, didn't condemn these violent attacks. With Governor Gavin Newsom writing, if they can handcuff a US Senator, imagine what they'll do to you. As they're going right into fear-mongering.
Yeah, if you attack people, you get arrested. That's how it fucking works. That's how it should work. It's how it should have been working the entire time, but Democrats forgot that.
With the LA Times saying first they came for the immigrants, then they took down our Latino senator. But the Daily Mail headlining the story with martial law. They really want you, the reader, to be scared that Trump's shock troops are gonna come for us all.
Yeah, and we should be coming for all of these left-wing tabloids that are lying and manipulating, trying to provoke people to start civil war. They're actually trying to provoke people to start civil war. It's fucking insane. But when you go to these crowds and you hear and you listen to what they're chanting, they're not really chanting fuck Donald Trump. They're chanting fuck the police, fuck the government. And where does that lead? I can tell you, it leads to Al-Qaeda. It leads to ISIS. We're gonna get these groups like this if we don't put a fucking stop to it.
When it's really easy as not charging at the Secretary of Homeland Security during a press conference. It's really not that difficult.
Yeah, we're turning into the Middle East.
And you know it's bad when even CNN sides with the Trump administration.
She was holding a press conference and doing a press statement. He's not a member of the press. It wasn't like a hearing where it was an open forum for senators to ask a question. He clearly showed up to a public event to create a moment and do what you're saying, sort of show.
Okay, I'll give it to CNN. They're trying a little bit. I mean, they're still fucking crazy and lie all the time. But there's every once in a while, they got some people on there that are just like, listen, you're all stupid. This is the way it is. Like that guy that's talking about the polls all the time, who keeps saying that, like, Trump is the most popular president we've ever had. What is happening? And he becomes more and more popular every day. And he's like getting super excited about it. That's on, isn't that on CNN?
his constituents, not just Democrats, but that he's fighting from his perspective.
And how should we, in your view, be analyzing how we're seeing these agents respond?
Yeah, don't let this guy do this. Don't let people defend stuff like this, because it'll just happen more. Everybody has to come out against stuff like this. Democrats have to come out against stuff like this, but they can't. They can't come out against their own unless they step out of line of the narrative just an inch. Then they'll come out against him if he disagrees.
This was not a Q&A period, and she's interrupted. She's interrupted by someone who is speaking very loudly.
Holy shit, CNN. Fucking based reporting on this one. We need to see more stuff like that.
And so her security detail confronts what we obviously now know to be the senator. And at that point, he is now going to be escorted out. But the second incident, in my view, happens the moment as officers are trying to lead him out. He then turns and walks back towards, kind of into those agents. At that point, from a security detail perspective, we're taking this person out against their will.
But the senator is getting exactly what he wanted. Immediately doing.
True, and everybody who doesn't think that is a fucking idiot. Or they're just lying, which means they're a fucking idiot.
Doing a press tour featuring sadness about his arrest. With plenty of articles that'll finally make him relevant.
Yeah, nobody's actually buying this. I think even people who are posting about it online defending the guy aren't buying it. They're just defending him because they're crazy leftists and they have to defend the left.
His little emotional outburst only makes him look pathetic, but I think it's important that the Democrats take every opportunity to draw the focus away from what they're actually discovering about these raids in LA.
Yeah, they need to stop crashing out. They need to stop lying. They need to get back with the regular people, or they're never gonna lose. They're never gonna win another presidency, ever, even if they cheat.
As a most important portion of Noam's press conference is their findings on funding.
And we also have the IRS here that's helping us track how these violent protesters are funded, what NGOs out there, what unions, what other individuals may be funding.
Where earlier someone was seen distributing these expensive bionic shields to the rioters.
Yeah, somebody is stoking the flames trying to start a civil war. And it's forces inside the country and it's forces outside the country. I bet a lot of it's funded by China. A lot of it's probably funded by Iran. I bet even some of it's funded by Israel. Because they like America, they like that we help them. But they would rather Israel have total control of America.
Who the FBI later identified and charged as he seems to be part of a much larger organization.
Of course he is!
And as Data Republican has been digging, she's finding this No Kings protest is actually being funded by several organizations that receive taxpayer money.
Yeah, even Walmart was talking about this No Kings protest. So you know they're funding it.
Where some of them are giving in the millions of dollars. Now I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but we gotta get a little conspiratorial. As he's right.
Usually, okay, I'd hate to fucking say it, but usually when we come up with these conspiracy theories, they end up being fucking true.
Riots kicked off when they raided the fashion district in downtown LA, and I saw it first from this random lady.
The riots got started in Los Angeles not because ICE was going in and arresting people who came here illegally, but because the fashion district had an investigation going on where they were smuggling and laundering money in from Mexico and Colombia. They did not report over 80 million in goods, and they did not pay over 17 million in taxes.
But it is in line with similar cases in the fashion district, where recently another wholesaler was also convicted of laundering money. And now our borders are...
Dude, Democrats are just like, are they all criminals? Are they all just fucking criminals? Because they're defending all these criminal organizations that keep popping up everywhere and pretending they're not happening. They know they're happening and they're lying about it and pretending that, oh, these protests are about something else, when really it's a war between Mexican gangs and the US government. But part of the US government is on the side of the Mexican gangs, probably because they're getting money, like from the cartels and shit. What do you want to bet? This shit's playing out like a fucking movie.
Tom Homan says the same thing is happening now.
And that's what no one's talking about. The fashion district wasn't an immigration raid. It was the service of 3 criminal warrants at locations based on a large criminal conspiracy that ICE have been investigating that has to do with money laundering, tax evasion, and customs fraud. And it's part.
No, it doesn't. You're lying, Homan. You're lying. You just want to see all these Mexicans arrested and thrown out. Guarantee you that's what the left is saying. That, oh, this just isn't true. They're just lying. Homan's just lying. And they'll never look into it. Because the left probably is going to say that he's lying. Or they're just, you know, not even going to bring it up. So if the left's not talking about it, and the right's the only ones talking about it, obviously they're just lying about it.
An overall conspiracy on numerous businesses that they believe that some of this money is being laundered in Mexico and Colombia to fund cartel activity.
It really changes your perspective on why the Democrats are so desperate to regain control of the National Guard.
Because they're getting directly funded. They're getting money put directly into their pockets by the cartels. 100%. Guarantee it. Why would I make $250,000 a year as a senator when I can make $250,000 a year as a senator, and as a senator I can make $50 million a year from the cartel to allow them to do criminal operations and to actively defend them? You know? That's probably what's fucking happening.
Where they even go screaming and sprinting at the DHS secretary when she's just trying to tell us about this. As every
It makes me think that guy is taking money from the cartel. This whole situation just stinks of the Mexican cartels.
Attack against these raids are based in lies and emotional manipulation. They claim they're tearing families apart when they're really arresting dangerous individuals, like criminals with records of human smuggling and—
Nuh-uh! Nuh-uh! This is just a Georgia man. I don't know if this guy's from Georgia, but that's like shit that they'll say. No, this is just a father. He's got 2 kids. You really gonna deport a guy and arrest a guy that's got 2 kids? And then they don't look into it and they just listen to what crazy people online say about it. And it turns out that they're actually a fucking criminal. Not just a criminal for crossing the border illegally. No, for human smuggling and money laundering.
People who have a history of harming kids, and more people who have histories of crimes against kids.
No, they just really, really like kids, that's all. They're misunderstood.
Interesting how most of these guys are Asian, but you won't see me acting in solidarity with heinous criminals. But now that we're putting the puzzle pieces together—
Yeah, they just pretend that they're not heinous criminals. They're just doing everything wrong because they want to be against everything Republican. Everything Republican is evil. Everything right-wing is evil. And they'll do this. They'll say these things even knowing that they are wrong. But they just can't be lumped in with the right wing. They can't step out of line. They don't want the left to have their head.
It's starting to make sense why these liberal cities are allowing these riots to repeat. Where in Seattle again, they're building barricades to block off the streets. And into the evening, they're parking their most vulnerable at the front line. Which makes sense when they chant this. Eventually setting fire to their own city. And it's only a matter of time before, like Los Angeles, they start attacking the coppers. But why are these protests only occurring in deep blue parts of the country? Well, maybe it's because in places like Florida, they actually let their law enforcement enforce the law.
Imagine that. Fucking crazy. What a coincidence. Nobody's talking about that, actually. How these riots only ever happen in these deep blue cities. And it's always something, man. They always got to be rioting about something. And if you look back at the history of these people that go to these protests, I guarantee you that they go to all kinds of protests. And probably have been ever since Occupy Wall Street. Apparently there's been a few people arrested or they've been found out to be these types of people that go to all the protests and have been since Occupy Wall Street.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail.
And if you don't, you're probably going to get run over by somebody who's mad just trying to go to work. And they don't care in Florida.
If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're—
That is kidnapping, by the way.
Most likely going to get run over. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail.
And may or may not survive. Because it depends on how crazy you are and how you hit them and how many times and what you look like and how you're acting when you do it.
And most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here.
Yeah, and if you try and harm the dogs, you're definitely not surviving.
If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at.
Fuck! Based! Holy shit, what a way to say that.
With their governor sharing what the citizens could do.
You have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you.
Damn, dude, fucking Florida. Don't fuck around in Florida.
And that's it, guys. I think I'm finally gonna move to Miami. Even if it drastically changes the formatting of my channel, I think the switch will be so gradual you won't even notice. As sadly, I had a whole joke to do here, but as of recording this, World War III has broken out in the Middle East.
Yeah, I heard about that, damn. I might be covering it, might not. We'll see. We'll see how crazy it gets.
So the Decoy course about how to be an alpha male to your sugar babies will just have to wait, as I gotta start researching if we're about to go to War II, so be sure you subscribe for that.
I don't think so. I think we're good. I think we're just gonna sit back and watch this happen again, because this shit happens all the time. Or Israel and Iran attack each other. Is this gonna be the time that it launches us all into World War III? I fucking doubt it.
Don't doom scroll on social media.
Yeah. Say that every time. Yep, LA's cooked. It's not just LA, it's like these deep blue cities. Eventually, like, these people are gonna naturally select themselves out. You know? Maybe we should just arrest them all and then they can't be voters anymore. That's all I got. Buy a t-shirt down there in the description. I'm out.